Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wealth Talks with Dr. Kalpana and Marisol. So, we're here to give you your weekly messages about wealth and money, all the things that nobody wants to talk about. But weirdly, we really like talking about money for some reason. So, we have partnered up to give you guys the 411 about all things wealth and money. So we've been on a topic this week about debt. We've been talking quite a bit about it because really people have a lot of debt in this country, and I think there's a lot of shame around debt. Wouldn't you say? It's something people don't want to talk about. It's something they don't want to face. It's something they want to just sweep under the rug.
Yeah, everyone at some point in their lives has had some sort of debt, whether it's the secured or the unsecured. And when it comes to debt, yeah, you want to look at it with a lens of giving yourself some grace, giving yourself the opportunity to ask for help to get out of that debt. Because just how money can compound in the positive, it can also compound in the negative and hurt you and your goals in the long run.
Yeah. And it's really big because once we create some sort of debt, and there's some debt is better than others. Obviously we don't pay for our homes often in cash. Most of us don't. Some do. Cars, things like that. Like those things are kind of a little bit different. But maybe we'll focus a little bit more on credit card debt because I feel like that's a really hard one. Once we get into that scenario where we've accumulated some sort of credit card debt, it's kind of a hard thing to get out of. So, Marisol, I'm going to let you explain why, because there's a fancy little rule that explains why.
Absolutely. So when we look at credit card debt, we're looking at the rule of 72 and explaining that when it comes to the interest that compounds with your current plan. So let's say your bank is offering you a loan rate in the 20%. Well, that debt can very well multiply into double of what it is today in 3.5 years.
Which is huge. And so, but that creates a lot of issues for people. I would say that in a psychological level, it's going to create issue because it's there and it eats at you sort of silently for a
Oh,
really
yeah.
long time. It just eats at you. You know it's there. And you know what? The worst part about it is it's there and you're not getting ahead of it. So
Mhm.
that feels worse. I think if you felt like you were getting on top of it, it could feel almost empowering, but it doesn't because you just paying this money every month and somehow the debt hasn't even gone down because that's the situation the credit card companies like to see you in because they make money off of you.
Right. And so when we talk about getting back into our power, right, and aligning yourself with the future version that you want to see in the external world, we need to create some order in the internal world. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like having a commitment to yourself and saying, "Hey, looking yourself in the mirror or something, try it. Say you are going to be debt free." And that starts with a plan and it starts with a strategy. And that's where we come in.
Exactly. So the first thing is really owning it without shame, without attaching emotion to it. Just, okay, I have this debt. Whatever situation created it, give yourself some grace. I would say next, know that there's often a money relationship that creates the debt. I mean, yes, sometimes some things could happen out of the blue, of course. But a lot of times I would say it's just a relationship that we have with money that's probably maybe not serving us and we could improve. So then it's just about managing that relationship with money. And then lastly, a game plan to get out of debt. Because when you have this credit card debt, not only is it eating at you slowly, as I mentioned, but it also is creating a huge opportunity cost because now you're paying that money into that debt and you're not saving for your future. You're not creating wealth for the things that really matter. So then it's a double whammy.
Right. So the plan is to allocate your budget on spending from money that you do have. And so when we look at the pillars of financial stability, one of them is debt. And when we address this, we look at income and we look at expenses. And oftentimes, depending on people's habits, not much is left when it comes to wiggle room to have a vacation or to fund other needs because you're actually pulling money from where you don't have it to begin with. And so that's a dangerous place to partake in.
Mhm.
And so, what I'd encourage you to do is make a list of your monthly expenses and ask yourself, can I really afford this or am I living above my means?
Yeah, that's a perfect way to look at it. So, really, this is just a little short discussion. We wanted to just bring this out there because a lot of people deal with it. And we have conversations with people who are really, wanting to get their financial plan organized. And often we get to that debt section, the income section is, I think, easier for most people. Expenses, I feel there's a little resistance around that. And then often when it comes to the debt portion, there's I could tell people feel some kind of way about it. The reality is we don't have to feel any way about it. We just have to take ownership of what is and look at it and create a plan to mitigate it. So that's something that we can help with. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube, just comment debt and I'll send you a link to our calendar and we can have a conversation about it. There are a lot of ways that you can actually start to mitigate that debt and reduce it and get out of that situation. And of course, nobody tells you about this because, again, people are benefiting from you paying all that interest. And we don't want to see that happen to you.
No, 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 we don't. And like you mentioned, people get squirmy when you talk about money. And really, it's just a tool, it's just a resource.
Mhm.
And we want to position you to use it to the max when it comes to your goals and your family and your business and your future.
100%. It is not about, judgment. It's not about shaming anybody. It's just about looking at what is, and then how can we make it better so that you're living the life that you want to live and that you deserve to live. So that's how we look at it. But I know that it's hard for a lot of people. And I think because we both come from the healthcare industry, I think we're used to seeing people vulnerable in other situations. So for us, I think money doesn't seem as bad as those other situations that we've seen people with. So, it's just all the perspective on how you look at it, but we're here to help. So again, if you're watching this and you feel that you'd like some more strategy on how to mitigate and improve that debt, just DM us and, we'll get you a link to a calendar and then we can talk a little further about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. If you took any value from these few minutes, be sure to share it with a friend because you don't know who is silently suffering, and we don't want that to happen because that'll translate into your health. We know as best as anyone in the medical world that, for example, blood pressure, that's a silent killer. You won't know that
Yeah.
you're 170 over 90 just by looking at someone. Oftentimes, you have to take the objective measurement and take a pulse. And so, when we sit down with people, we take a financial pulse and we see objectively what the numbers are.
Absolutely. And you're right. I mean, I'm just going to end with this because people don't realize how much that debt really impacts their health. I mean, if it's keeping you up at night, you're not sleeping. Well, that right there, usually people who don't sleep well at night have higher blood pressure and are risk for other things. So anxiety, all of those things. So we don't want to see people suffering from this. We'd rather help you get to the bottom of it, get it better, and have you live a calmer life and have you be healthy and wealthy.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Marisol, for joining us. Anyway, share this with a friend. We are going to be doing this every week. So live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So keep an eye out. Bye, everyone.
Bye.